Under Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay, this is from Scientologybusiness.com, posted by Alexander Barnes Ross, dated April 28th, 2025. Scientology Anti-Psychiatry protest march stopped by City of London police. I would love to see this capitalized the way it's supposed to be, but you guys know I'm a weirdo. I don't know, I like good grammar and good, following grammar rules. Let me do something real quick. Hold on. Okay, I don't want to be too mean to the Scientologists because sometimes I know I go a little too far, but you all know how I feel when children are being abused. That's it. I can't help but laugh about this one. Treatment, a fancy way of saying kill brain cells. Anyone who knows, knows. Imagine the irony of that one. It's the mockery. You see, a lot of people that are in these cults, they don't understand what the mockery is. If you guys do a lot of research and go down the rabbit hole real far, you'll find out that they absolutely, the evil ones, absolutely love to mock us. And 99.9% of the NPCs don't understand that. It's a non-player character. An anti-psychiatry protest march that was planned to depart from the Church of Scientology, London, this morning, did not go ahead after the City of London police discovered they had failed to obtain the required permits. LAPD, how about that? Last week, our sources told us Scientology had a protest march planned under the banner of their Citizens Commission on Human Rights. Was Jan Eastgate there? Because you know Jan Eastgate loves to cover up or coach children in Scientology that were sexually abused to perjure themselves in court. That's what Jan Eastgate likes to do. It's on public record. CCHR Front Group, it was due to depart at 11 a.m. from their London headquarters at 146 Queen Victoria Street, near Blackfriars, although the intended route had not been published. Under sections 11.1 and 11.3, interesting numbers, of the Public Order Act 1986, organizers are required to give the police at least 6 working days notice ahead of any planned protest marches and processions, which Scientology failed to do. Okay, just for fun, you guys, I want to see what these signs say. They're all worked up about electroshock. I mean, do psychiatrists even still use that? You guys know they do use electroshock in MK Ultra, as well as satanic ritual abuse, right? You guys know that, right? Where do you guys think they get this stuff from? Just go look up methods of torture. Okay, this says attend the march against psychiatric abuses in London. What about crimes and abuses against children in Scientology, folks? Look at this wonder. They always got to say this. Yeah, everyone is welcome. But you know who's not welcome, you guys? Who's not welcome are adults that have any psychiatric disorder, adults who have any cognitive disabilities, adults whom have any physical disabilities, adults who may have autism, adults who may have any other types of disorders, because they would be really low on the tone scale. I forget which number. They are considered a degraded being. And to top it off, you guys, every type of disorder or disability that I just mentioned, that pertains to children as well. They always say, make the able more able. You know, just like black tooth, pot-belly drug addict, loser scumbag, allegedly was in intelligence, allegedly was from, I believe he was from Nebraska or Kansas somewhere, black tooth, pot-belly, loser who believes it's okay to kiss children, to kiss 7-year-old girls. That loser, L. Ron Hubbard, who just magically eluded police officers, Federal Bureau of Investigations, Charlie Igloo, Alpha, Homeland Security, Department of Defense, Department of Justice, Child Protective Services. He evaded all those services for 70-something years. Must be a conspiracy, huh? A flyer sent to us promoting the march said, "Join us for the march against psychiatric abuses through the heart of London to demand accountability." Huh. You know, like the accountability that Scientology always dodges, even when they commit crimes. Transparency. Yeah, like the transparency that Scientology has none of. And reform in the field of psychiatry. Says this from a bunch of people that are not medical professionals. Says this from a lot of people that are either ignorant or unaware of the case of Lisa McPherson, the case of the teenage boy that was not allowed to take his psychiatric medications in Australia and killed his mother, who's not aware of the Kyle Brennan suicide in which his Scientologist father took away his psychiatric medications, just to name a few. And reform in the field of psychiatry. What about the reform of child sexual abuse in Scientology? What about that? This march stands in solidarity, right, with survivors. Whom would those survivors be? Because, you know, the young children or teenagers in Scientology that had any severe mental handicap, mental disability, perhaps schizophrenia, the majority of them are dead because nobody would help them in the correct way. Sick of it. This march stands in solidarity, yeah, right, with survivors. You guys notice there's like no survivors there? What in the F are they talking about, survivors? And those affected by coercive psychiatric practices. What about all the coercive mind control and coercive auditing of children? What about all the coercive ethics handlings of children? What about all the coercive sec checks the children are getting right now? What about all the coercion that goes on with parents that completely give up their children in Scientology? What about that? Can't wait to see how this is throttled. You guys, maybe if I'm lucky, I get one view. Harmful medications. Stated from people that are not medical professionals. Stated from people that have no medical training whatsoever. Institutional neglect. What about all the neglect of the children in the cadet org, huh? What about all the neglect of all the children that went to the Apple School in Los Angeles? What about all the neglect that happened to all the children? Oh, this is upsetting me. What about the neglect of all the children that were made to go to the Lower Ranch in Albuquerque, New Mexico, like Nathan Rich and others? What about that neglect, in which the parents just gave their children up without a fight? Never came to visit some of them. Violations of basic human rights under the guise of mental health treatment. What about all the violations of basic human rights in Scientology of the young immigrants that come over to the United States or other countries on R1 visas or visas that are similar in practice, or the R2 visas, which are given to children and then their passports are locked up so they can't go home if they want to? What about that? Under the guise of religious freedom. What about that one? Huh? Huh? Oh, Alex hits it right on the head here. No reference was made to the coercive control, neglect, and human rights violations Scientology themselves, which, to include Scientologists, have been accused of by former members. And also a lot of them have gone to jail or prison. Let's not leave that out. And the police are always happy to make it look as if that was the individual that chose whatever they chose. Scrub it, like Serge Delmar says. Scrub it with little bubbles. I loved when he used to say that. I'll be glad when Serge Delmar comes back on YouTube, whenever that is. When we contacted the City of London Police to ask whether CCHR of Scientology had notified them about their plans for a march, we received the following reply. Thank you for your inquiry. The City of London Police have not been notified of a protest march taking place on Monday, 28th April 2025 at 1100 hours, that's 11 in the morning, from the Church of Scientology London headquarters, 146 Queen Victoria Street. Are you the organizer of this event, as it is unclear from your email? What an interesting question that the Popo asked. If such a protest march was to take place, we would require 6 days' notice of the intended route. As an organizer, you would need to provide stewards and have a plan for the safety of the participants in the protest march. In addition, we would require the details listed below. Under sections 111, that would be a 3 if you add them together, and 113 of the Public Order Act 1986, you must tell us at least 6 working days before the procession is due to take place. Date and time of the event start point and route, number of people you think will be at the event, your organization's name and address, plan meetings before the event, names of anyone scheduled to speak, links to any publicity material, dates when you'll be available to meet us. Imagine if the Los Angeles police or the Los Angeles police, imagine if they actually followed the laws of the United States. Imagine what it would look like. If you or anyone who is planning to organize such an event would like to discuss it, please call my number as below. We visited the church today to see whether the march went ahead, and it appears to have been canceled. Arriving before 11 a.m., it's because people are put a magnifier on this, that's why. Arriving before 11 a.m., we stayed opposite London Org until around 12:30, and although we saw CCHR representatives coming and going from the property, there was no sign of any protest march. Scientology are currently seeking a protest ban outside its UK headquarters near East Grinstead in Sussex, with the proposed Public Spaces Protection Order currently being reviewed by Mid-Sussex District Council. A decision is expected to be made sometime in the summer. So, are they trying to infringe on people's right to free speech? Sure sounds like it. CCHR is one of the Scientology's many social betterment programs, front groups. It uses to claim legitimate public benefit. What public benefit is that exactly? Its goal is to end psychiatry, with Scientologists believe it is a dangerous industry funded by Big Pharma. Isn't it funny how any other human, no matter what country you live in, anybody that ever speaks out about Big Pharma, how they take them down, but they don't take Sciento down? They don't take F Sciento down? Other front groups include Narcanon, a drug rehabilitation program. That's a scam. And Criminon, another scam, which teaches Scientology principles to inmates in several prisons across the UK. Good job, Alex. So I will leave a link in the description box. Like and subscribe if you choose. Otherwise, have an amazing day or night wherever you are. Peace.